to this live event. Today we are talking about IBCS reporting and how IBCS can help us in order to create reports that are more effective and can deliver message to decision makers. That's the reason why I'm talking in English. We have here as a special guest today Jürgen Faisst. So, welcome, Jürgen, and thanks for joining us.
Well, hello, Simone, and hello out there. Thank you for having me, and thank you for speaking English. I don't speak a word Italian, so
Yeah,
thank you
I
for
was
that.
just thinking about that. Probably it's maybe the first time that you are talking to an Italian audience. Is that right?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think it's the second time.
The second time.
Yeah,
Okay.
the second time we had. But again, I've just been talking English. I don't understand, regrettably, I don't understand a word Italian.
Okay, great. So my name is Simone Verza. I am a controlling trainer and consultant, and also an IBCS certified consultant. And Jürgen Faisst is today with us. Jürgen is the CEO and the co-founder of the IBCS Institute. And of course, we are going to talk about IBCS today. Jürgen, would you like to introduce yourself a bit and how do you became partner of the IBCS Institute? What's maybe the story behind that?
Well, probably it's a long story. So let me start. Um, so the IBCS Institute is a small company dedicated to training around better understandable reports. So this is actually what we do at the IBCS Institute. And when I say it's a small company, actually it's Rolf Hichert, my partner, and myself. And we have a couple of people working together with us, but it's really small. And why do I name Rolf Hichert? Actually, he is the reason why I'm working at IBCS Institute. And I know Rolf for a very long time. So actually, he was my first boss in the early 90s. And but the story starts earlier. Rolf Hichert is an engineer by profession, and he started working for McKinsey in the 80s. And when he started working for McKinsey in the 80s, then he just created slides, so real slides. It was before PowerPoint, huh? So foils,
Yeah.
and you had plotters for creating those foils. So he had to create slides showing, let's say, the results of a research at McKinsey. And he asked, because he was a young consultant, he asked his colleagues, hey, how should I do that? What are the chart types I should use? What colors should I use? Should the bars have frames or without frames? He asked all those questions and they said, oh, don't know. Well, probably you could use a pie chart. Maybe you give it a try with stacked bar charts. And Rolf thought, hey, I'm an engineer. And as an engineer, I'm used to have a concept. I'm used to have norms, to have standards, to have excuse me, to have manuals just for everything. So he was really surprised that there is no such thing like a set of rules, a set of standards for creating reports, charts, tables, and all that stuff. This already happened in the 80s. And when he left McKinsey and he started working as a professor, he got to know a young student who knew how to do programming. And the professor and the young student, it was not me, they together started running a software company called MIK, Management, Information and Communication. Communication in German is with K. No? Management, Information and
Yes.
Communication. And this was a software company that has been founded at the same time as Business Objects, for instance, has been founded. So this was that time. But this company was dedicated to business visualization. So this is how all that started with the software company. This software company was established in the late 80s. And I started working for this software company after my studies. After my PhD thesis, I started there. So Rolf Hichert was my first boss. And this is how all that started. Now I skip 20 years. So we then went in different directions. I had several C-level positions in software companies and consulting companies. But 10 years ago, 10 years ago, he came back to me. Of course, we have always been in connection. And 10 years ago, he came back to me and asked me whether I want to be his partner, because he wanted to change the world with an let's say an idea called IBCS. I will explain later what that is, and start running an institute training this IBCS idea and establishing an open source project. We will discuss that later. So this is how all that happened. And well, I quit my job with 50. I was 50 years old then. I quit my job, and we did together this IBCS stuff.
Good, very very interesting. So, some of the point of the story where I didn't know them, so the whole story. Also, in my case, I got in touch with the success rules even before the IBCS.
Mhm.
So that was the time where Rolf was
You know,
and my touch point was Controller Academy.
yes. So Rolf always had that feeling that there has to be something like a rule set and to improve that. And he started exactly developing that rule set, those success rules, maybe 20 years ago or something like that. He started that, but he started it with a different idea in mind. At that time, he has been running a consulting company called Hichert and Partner. And this consulting company did consulting, helping companies improve the legibility of their internal reports. So he got money for creating, let's say, a new, well, maybe standardized, internally standardized reporting, so that all the reports within one company look the same. So actually the result of his work was typically a notation manual, a booklet where you describe how your reports look like. But then after a couple of years, and this is where he then came back to me, after a couple of years, he realized that what he did for German Telecom, what he did for Swiss Post, and what he did for Red Bull in Austria was exactly the same. And at that point, he thought, hey, why should I only help one company to standardize the internal reporting at their company? Probably those rules I have in mind and those ideas I have in mind have the potential of becoming a global standard notation. And if this is the case, I should immediately stop being a consultant. Because if you are a consultant, then you try to keep your knowledge for yourself, because
Yes,
people have to pay for the knowledge. Yeah, this is the job of a
of course.
consultant. Give your knowledge and people pay for that. And he said, but if it should be a global standard, then there should be some kind of dissemination. It should spread. So I shouldn't keep the knowledge for myself. I should make it open so it spreads automatically. And this was the point where he came back to me and said, hey, Jürgen, I think I have something that could be a kind of global standard. Won't we develop such a thing? And that's exactly where we then changed from the success formula being a consulting product to IBCS being an open and community driven, by the way, approach.
Yes. So thanks for the complete explanation. And before going on, I just want to remind you that Jürgen Faisst will be one of the speakers of an event that will be held in, let's say, online, but in Italy, and that's called Reporting Day, dai dati alle decisioni, so from data to decisions. And if you're interested in this event, you can go on the website reportingday.it, and then you can see all the speakers and the complete program. But now also jumping in the questions to Jürgen. So first of all, to my Italian friends, if you are not so familiar with English and want to write a question to Jürgen in Italian, just no worries, write that in Italian. I will translate it for you. So my first question is about IBCS, of course, and because in Italy IBCS are not so well known, at least until now. And so, in a few words, how would you define IBCS for someone who doesn't know them at all?
Okay, so the typical elevator pitch.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
not. It looks like an easy question, but it's not that easy, I think.
no, it's not that easy because I have to decide whether I focus on what makes us special, what sets us apart, or whether I show all of it. And I go for all of it because I think it's tricky if I only focus on the thing that is special. So we probably should come back to that later on.
Okay.
So what is IBCS? IBCS is a set of rules that makes reports, presentations, and dashboards better understandable. That's actually what it is. And those rules are, let's say, structured in three pillars. One pillar is the conceptual rules. How should I set up all of that? So it's more about storytelling, message conveyance, and structuring that part. Then we have the perceptual rules. This is what other authors and other speakers like Edward Tufte, Stephen Few, and all the others tell us for 30 years, which is just about avoiding all that clutter and choosing the right chart type and such things, increasing information density, and of course, check the scaling. And the last part is what sets us apart. And this is absolutely new in IBCS, and this is a visual language. Things that mean the same should look the same. So we establish a standard, we call it semantic notation. So so you look at something and you immediately know what it means, because if it looks that way, it always means the same. And if you understand, it's like music notation. You know, I'm a musician. It's music notation, or it's like the notation in
Construction building.
engineering. Yeah, or I said Rolf is engineering, or in architecture, or you have it actually in every single profession. It's only in business that we don't have such a thing so far.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the definition. And I think also that it's something a bit weird about the standards, because in business we have so many standards and we are not defining ourselves as creative people. But in reporting you see a lot of creativity, but I would say wasted creativity. So people are using creativity for some things that are not that I would say important, or maybe they are not getting to the point where they should go.
Mhm. I think this is exactly the problem we have out there. People don't understand that in reporting we have, let's say, two stages or two levels. The first level is a kind of notation. So just how you do. It's like in music. You can read and write sheet music notes. But reading and writing music notes does not make a good composer. Yeah? And it's the same in architecture. If you know how to write and how to read a construction plan, this is level number one, then you are not yet a good architect. This is level number two. And you are exactly right when you talk about creativity. On level one, which is how to draw a construction plan, or how to draw electric circuits, or how to draw a map, or how to draw a report, there a creativity is absolutely not a good idea. Huh? On the second level, when you talk about an architect, when you talk about an engineer creating new things, if you talk about people exploring the world and then trying to draw the maps about they have been they found America, and they start, then there you need some creativity. And the same is in reporting. This second level is then dashboard design, is the creation of a presentation, it's the creation of a report, applying this visual language, where you know what to draw. So the content and the form, people mix the content and the form. The level number one is the form, level number two is the content. And for the content we need creativity, for the form we don't need any creativity. That's exactly one of the biggest problems we have. And people in business, people all apply in Excel and in PowerPoint, they all apply their creativity to the form instead of to the content.
Yeah. And do you think that this is probably maybe the biggest issues that we have in reporting today, or not? Or one, of course, is one of the biggest.
It's one of the issues, but honestly, I think that we still, and this is after 30 years, it has been the same problem when I started my career in the early 90s, we still have a data problem. So, people start thinking about advanced analytics and all those interesting, and machine learning and all that interesting stuff, and they still have issues with that data. So, okay, I think you agree there is the data problem. Let's separate that.
Yeah, data quality is still one
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
biggest issues.
And it's not only the quality, it's also the integration. You have disparate systems and you need to you bring things together. You all have the metadata problem that you cannot match the metadata. It's the same we had 30 years ago. And yes, it has become a little bit better, but it's not solved yet. I know the software industry wants to tell us, hey, this is everything automated and everything works fine. Now let's focus on artificial intelligence. No, it's not. Yeah? So this is one problem.
I think that, sorry if I interrupt you, I think that all the other stuff except the data collection, data quality, are perceived as more cool, but the biggest problems are coming from data quality and data collection normally.
I agree. So now that we have, let's just assume we have solved that problem. Then the next biggest problem is, from my perspective, is the length of the chain from the data to the decision maker. The problem we have today is that there are people called data analysts, or also controllers, and let's say the chain is, you have someone understanding the data, being a little more technical, and starting then creating dashboards. This guy needs to understand what the people looking at the dashboards are interested in, but far too often they do not really understand the business. They do not talk to each other, and it's not flexible enough. If you are a business guy and you want to know something else that has not been defined in your dashboard, do you want to go back to your IT, hey, create a new dashboard? And then you are on the analyst level, you are not yet on the decision maker level, and the decision maker level is one step ahead. So decision makers talk to analysts or to controllers and analysts talk to dashboard designers and the creators, and they have to get the data. This is just too long, which it takes too much time. It's not flexible enough. It's too error prone, and I think this is one of the biggest issues. So if you really want to make reporting more helpful for decision makers, we have to compress this process. We have to bring people and data, or decision makers and data, much closer together.
Okay. So this is a very good. I think it's a very big problem that doesn't have so a quick solution. So, and
Well, well,
uh,
I'm not sure. You know what? You know what? All people out there are talking about the digitization of the finance function
yeah,
and all of that, and controller being business partners, and this is all the discussion we have out there. So what we need to do is that we try to have more automation on the side of the report creation. So it's not only that we have to solve the data problem, but we also have to save to solve the problem of report creation. And if we don't want that there are dashboard designers doing that stuff, but maybe the system helps to do that, or the controller can just create on the snip of a finger, can just create the dashboard himself, what he's interested in, all of that. This needs, and here we come back to IBCS, this needs a set of rules. If you want to automate things, then the automate needs to know how he should do that. It's a computer. A computer just does what you tell him. So you have to tell him the rules that should be applied. And IBCS is exactly such a rule set. So I think that if we want to shorten that process, that IBCS, a standardized language, helping getting the flow from the data to the decision maker, is key, absolutely key. May I add something?
yes, of course.
You probably remember that 4 weeks ago, we had our IBCS annual conference. And at that IBCS annual conference, we had a panel discussion. A panel discussion with the topic, Can Dashboards Tell Stories? And one of the guests was an American guy working for a company called Narrative Science. This company, Narrative Science, has just been acquired by Tableau. Huh? What Narrative Science does is create automated, personalized reports. And when I prepared with this guy for the panel discussion, you know what he told me? He told me, oh my God, this sounds so interesting, IBCS, what you're doing. I wished we had met 3 years ago, because he knew exactly this is exactly what he needed for his automated report creation process. And he said, I wished we had met 3 years ago.
Okay, so it's very interesting to link IBCS to that, because I think there is sometimes a kind of misunderstanding about IBCS, at least for some people, because they think that there are just a set of rule of data visualization, and but you explain it very well. So IBCS are a mean that should help us to fill this gap that you were talking about. And I don't know why the people, because probably the people are seeing the charts, the tables, and so
I,
on, and they are focused to the
I
visual
can
part
I
of
can
that.
tell you why. I know why that is. That is because this is, you know, see behind me the book Solid Outline Hatched. Huh? We've been writing a
Yeah.
book, Solid Outline Hatched. And this is this semantic part. What I told you before, that there is the notation, which is level one, and there is the level two with all the creativity. And what's new with IBCS is this level one, the notation. But this is only what is new. Huh? But it's a precondition for the rest. And again, if you know how to notate music, you are not a good composer. And it's exactly the same that we have in reporting. So if you follow all those data visualization suggestions we make in terms of solid outlined hatch for actual plan and forecast, then probably your chart and your table looks IBCS compliant. Whether it's a good one or not is a completely different story, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, we have some comments. A lot of people are greeting us. So Letizia, Matteo, Marco, Edita. I think that Jürgen, you know Edita, I think.
Sure.
And Marco, Umberto, and Sumiri. Okay, I just remind you, if you have question for Jürgen, just write them. Sumiri is saying, I absolutely agree with what you said to reduce the gap between decision makers and controllers analysts. I think both dashboard creators and controllers should follow the same rules as those indicated in IBCS.
Mhm.
Despite the name, I know Sumiri a bit. She is working in Italy, so
Okay.
she's not from she's from another country, but so we are getting in the Italian market a bit also. And of course, and when we talk about standards, so notation standards and so on, I know that in IBCS there is also this idea which I found very interesting, about templates of reports for different fields. Can you tell a bit about that? Because I think that this is also a part of this filling the gap
Mhm.
that you were talking about.
This is exactly the first try to move ahead of this notation thing. Huh? This is like in music. If you do not only tell people, hey, this is how you notate, but hey, a cool jazz tune would sound like that. And then ding, 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 boom, 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 boom. And you already have something that sounds good and everything is fine. And you then start probably modify that. And so you have templates. And you have templates not on the design level, but templates on the content level. And the content level in business is, as you say, it's, let's say in finance, we are talking about income statements and cash flow statements, but this is only finance. IBCS has nothing to do with finance. We could also have templates. Hey, you, Simone, yourself, you have been creating a template for production, and others have been creating templates in HR. I've just seen a really interesting template being created from an IBCS colleague for hires and leavers in companies. So in the HR field, how can you control your fluctuation and all this? So really interesting things going on. We have been talking at the annual conference about templates for ESG reporting, ESG or CSR. So this corporate social responsibility or environmental thing, so everything that has to do with sustainability is in everyone's mouth these days.
Yeah.
And of course it makes perfect sense to provide templates, good understandable templates that of course apply this notation so they are easy readable and people that are familiar with the IBCS language can immediately see what's going on. So if we would provide templates for specific business areas, that would be great. We just started with that. But again, this is not the job of the IBCS Institute. We are just doing training. Huh? This is the job of the IBCS community. I told you at the beginning, also those rules have not been developed by the IBCS Institute. The initial idea is from Rolf Hichert. But when we created the IBCS Institute, we just published all his knowledge and all the rules that have been established to that point. And we created something we call the IBCS Association, which is a not-for-profit association. And this IBCS association is responsible for the further development of those rules. So it's not Rolf Hichert's rules anymore, or mine, or the ones of the IBCS Institute. No, it's the IBCS Association. And the IBCS Association has almost 8,000 members so far from more than 130 countries. So we are a real international community defining their own language, if
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah, and I can also add that as Jürgen already said, IBCS are open standards, and they have the under the Creative Commons license. That probably this license from the software, but you can have it also to the to all the contents that
You
you
know
can
it
develop.
from, it's Wikipedia.
Yeah,
It's like Wikipedia, huh?
Wikipedia
It's just
is
yeah,
the biggest example.
yeah.
And if you go to the IBCS website, ibcs.com, you can also subscribe for free and download the standards, and so they are free, and then you can start to also to apply them in an open way. And
You
that's
you
why,
you can even translate them. There has been a
yeah,
guy from Colombia who just said, "Well, in Latin America, people do not talk as good English as probably in Europe, so I have to translate that to Spanish," and he did. So yeah, so we now have also a version in Spanish.
yes, great. So we have also Spanish is a very important language because it's the second language spoken in the world. So we are spreading. So IBCS is spreading a bit in many countries, I think. um, uh, IBCS started in Germany, and they are, I would say, more famous in Germany, but I think that also in many other countries. So the trend is increasing. What you can say to us, Jürgen?
Yeah, it's interesting that the trend is increasing, and you know that in the software industry, especially in business intelligence software, we always had those waves. You know, then they wanted to create those speedometer types of things, and then it disappeared again. And then they all wanted to create this 3D. You remember all the bars and even the pie charts needed to be 3D.
Yeah,
After a couple of years, it disappeared again. And some people told me 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when we started with all of that, okay, this is just another wave. IBCS, it's probably in 5 years, no one will talk about IBCS anymore. No, we we came to stay. Yeah? So what we see, it's increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. And you know, in the meanwhile, even Microsoft is applying it internally. They have a plugin for Power BI that is IBCS certified, and they are using it. SAP even implemented it in the analytics cloud, so it's part of the analytics cloud. So what we see is that it's probably hard to spread a concept. Yeah, just saying, hey, we have here an idea that probably solves some problem. Won't you follow that idea? This is not the best way to spread an idea, because what people need is a solution. And the solution is, in this case, typically a software solution. What we see now is that the development of software solutions that follow this idea, we get more and more traction for the dissemination. And now people call from South Africa, hey, we just purchased the analytics cloud from SAP. It's IBCS certified. We looked at that concept. It's interesting. Can you give us a training? And I said, yeah, sure, we do that. Or Australia, we just had a training course for Australia, an SAP consulting company. So this is, or I've been speaking in New Zealand, well, online. I've not been in New Zealand, but it was a company from New Zealand broadcasting in the Power BI, the biggest Power BI, let's say, training organization in the world. And I looked at the agenda. 3 of the courses were around IBCS. It was me, it was 2 software vendors talking, 3 of them. So yes, it's disseminating around the globe.
great. In the meantime, we have a question from Matteo, who is asking something about colors. He said it's very interesting what you said about the importance of storytelling and dashboards, and I will ask a further question about that to Jürgen in a few minutes. And Matteo is asking, what do IBCS standards state about colors in reporting?
Mhm. Um, this is an easy question. You know, if you ask a designer, what is the most important visual tool you've got? All the designers will say the strongest spice I have is color. So if color is the strongest mean we have, then we should apply it to the most important thing we have. And the most important thing we have in reporting is highlighting, pointing people to the things that are going on. Oh, this is interesting. This is highlighting. So we apply colors to highlighting only. The most important highlighting, you know, all of that is variances. You look at the red and the green, the good and the bad ones. Probably you have some neutral ones. So we have red for the bad ones, green for the good ones, maybe a bluish green if you have some people with color deficiency. And you need a third color for highlighting just neutral things. So this is where we apply color and not too much else, especially not just for categories. Hey, let's do the product number A in yellow and the product number B in blue. Why that? If you do it consistently, then it would probably not be too bad. Huh? But most people do it inconsistently. In chart number 1, yellow means product A. In chart number 2, yellow means region number C. In chart number 3, it's company number whatever. And well, this is the problem.
Yeah, and I would add that in many cases is the software that is choosing the color for us.
Sure.
Because if you remember now, you see a lot of blue charts, and that's why the default color of Excel is blue now. But before it was not blue. It was, I don't remember exactly the color.
Yellow.
Yellow, and then you there were a lot of yellow charts. So
Sure.
the people are not thinking about that. So
Yeah.
and
And this is a pity because color is so strong. This is the one thing we should really apply with care.
yeah. One time I just telling that many times. One time during a training, there was a controller showing me a report, and everything was green. And then I asked, "Is this a company color?" And he said, "No, no, no. Why did you choose green as color? Because that's my favorite color."
Well,
So this
yeah,
is funny, but
Simone,
this is happening also because it's just a matter of I like this color, I choose this color.
honestly, Simone, green is also my favorite color. I love reports with all green stuff because
Yeah,
green means good. So green is absolutely my favorite color.
yeah. If we are talking about variances,
Yeah, sure.
that's for sure. So coming to the question about the dashboards, because I think that there is a big trend in dashboards. We see dashboard almost everywhere for everything, and in some cases, people are even let's say telling us that is the solution to many many problems. And we have Power BI, which is free. A lot of people are using that, but I think that we have to think about it a bit, because if we really think about decision support, and do you think that they are really the solution so that dashboard can solve all of these problems?
Well, I already started a couple of minutes ago explaining that just the way from the data to the decision maker is too long, and following that idea, I think people did not understand yet that there are two completely different types of reports. Actually, on the way from data to decision, we have two types of reports. We have the reports for the people who do the research. Yeah? So if you want to do some analysis, some research, then of course you have to dig in the data and you need some tools to do that. If we call those tools dashboards, then they make a lot of sense for those people who do some analysis. But then there is a second type of reports. And this second type of reports is if you, let's say, tell the story about your findings. So you are an analyst, you have taken the report of the type number one for doing your analysis, but then you found out, hey, in Italy, we have just in the south of Italy, we have a big problem with whatever product and this and that. And then you do some research and you want to communicate this, let's say, message, this issue, this problem, this finding to a manager. This is a second type of report. Today, typically, report number one is done with analytic software like Power BI or Business Objects or whatever. And the second type of report is typically done with PowerPoint or just in speaking. You go to your boss, hey, I found out this is then that, or you just create something with Excel. So it's more the ad hoc and the standardized thing. Some people call it exploratory reports for the research reports and explanatory reports for the reports telling stories. So, and the dashboards are, from my perspective, at least those dashboards we have today are on the exploratory level. So dashboards are helping the people who want to find out themselves. And not for communicating the story to decision makers. I know that there are some ideas from software vendors how to integrate some, let's say, social media components and to start entering some comments and communicating via comments. And so this is going in the right direction, but we are not yet there.
Yeah, because the second topic connected to that is that many people say, okay, let's do some storytelling with the dashboard. It's something, it looks like that is something automatic, but I don't think that a dashboard is really the right mean to do a proper storytelling. So what do you
No.
think?
For storytelling, I think dashboards are a dashboard is a fixed frame with all the data people decided what they want to see on a dashboard. Of course, you can do some navigation and you can do drill down and drill across and change the point of view, but it's still the same setup. And this cannot be a story. The story then is when I found out what happened in the south of Italy, I probably even took the phone and called someone in Italy. Hey, what's going on in south? What happened there? And they tell me, hey, guy, it's so hot here. And we have probably some fire. And of course, we don't sell the things then. And okay, this is the story. I never met not a single dashboard telling me that story. So, yeah, I don't think that dashboards tell stories, but I think it should be a goal to close that gap between the dashboards and the stories. For instance, to make it so easy to create new reports, new dashboards, to make them more flexible, maybe in a kind of PowerPoint style, doing the analysis, putting things together. And once you have your story, then broadcast it to your boss or other decision makers. I think this is where we have to go.
Yeah, but it's for sure something different from what we have right now. Just to add something, Jürgen will talk about dashboard and storytelling during the event in September, on the 23rd of September, on the reporting day. I already told you that he will be one of the speakers. So if you are interested in this topic, maybe just go to the website and have a look. In the meantime, we have another comment coming from George. I was pronouncing correctly the name, and he said all managers love to see the green, and he's also putting an emoji about dollars. And nevertheless, I find that colors are essential for a good data visualization. Yeah, I think that Jürgen, you will answer, but I think they are essential, but if used in a proper way, right?
I would absolutely agree. They are absolutely essential. This is why we use it for the most important thing in data visualization, which is visualizing the let's say the things we want to highlight. So no different meaning. I absolutely agree, but I wouldn't use it for decoration. That's the big difference.
That's the
Some people
point.
think they use color for making it more, let's say, appealing and for decoration purposes. And I think then we spoil the power of color for decoration instead of using the power of color for our message to convey.
Exactly. Just another quick story about my career. In my first controlling job, I have a boss who was telling to me, "Okay, the numbers are so bad that we have to make the report look nicer I mean, in a graphical perspective. So at least he was asking to me, do this report nicer so that the bad figures are maybe let's say in disguise." So
Cut,
we,
cut some axes. Huh?
yeah, or something like that. So this is for sure a big issue. So we are coming to the end of the interview, and if you have some question, just write it in the comments. In the meantime, I would like to talk about maybe the trainings that we have about IBCS, Jürgen. So you are giving a lot of trainings, and a lot of trainings are going on, and
Yeah, as I told in the beginning, the IBCS Institute is dedicated to training courses. This is what we do because we think that by giving training courses, this is the best way of spreading the idea around the globe. Well, that's what we do. And we do it both in a physical way, so that we have on site training courses, public ones, and also private ones, so that we just do it, let's say, on site in a company. But in the meanwhile, thanks to Corona, COVID, we also do it completely virtual. So there is a plethora of different courses. It starts with a self-paced video course about this visual language, solid outlined hatched. It continues with our main training, which we call IBCS with Success. This is just, let's say, the mother of all courses. And then there is a workshop that we provide following this mother of all training courses. And together, the seminar with the workshop is sold as an IBCS certified analyst training. So you even get a certification that after the training and after the 2-day workshop, you can do an online test. And if you just get 70% of the available credits, then you are an IBCS certified analyst. Okay, and yes, there are many of them. The in-house are not mentioned on our website, but the public ones are. And there are several German ones, of course, but there is also an English one in the Netherlands, in September. There is a Polish one in September. There is a Croatian one in October. There's an online one in October. Yeah, Simone, you will be with me in the October one.
yeah, exactly.
Um, and yes, so many of them, just go to the website ibcs.com/seminars and you will just find the entire schedule.
Yeah, and in the near future, we will also have IBCS seminars in Italian.
Yes, and I already know the Italian trainer.
Yeah,
Yes, so
who is that?
Simone is on his way of becoming an IBCS certified trainer.
So, okay. Thank you, Jürgen. So I don't see any question right now. So thank you, Jürgen, for being with us today.
Was a
And
was a pleasure as always.
thanks for all the people that were joining us and following us live. But there are also some people that are following the interview later, maybe on the podcast, on YouTube, or later on LinkedIn. And I just remind you that if you are interested in the IBCS, there is this event on the 23rd of September, Reporting Day. You can go on the website reportingday.it. And if you have also any other question, let's say offline, you can also write me, and I will try to answer you as soon as possible. So thanks for hearing us. Thanks, Jürgen.
Thank you,
And
Simone, for having me. So
yeah,
hope to
I
see
will
all of
have a
you.
break for vacation, and then we will see us later in September.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye. Ciao.